Hannah woke before the alarm, like she always did. Her body knew when the crushing was coming. She could feel it in her bones, in the ache that never quite went away. Beside her, Una still slept, her breathing soft and shallow. 4 in the morning. 15 minutes until the alarm would scream through the sleeping quarters. 15 minutes until the Valkyrie guards would activate the gravity machines and turn their bodies into lead. Hannah sat up slowly. Every movement hurt. Her knees clicked when she bent them. Her shoulders burned when she stretched. She was 17 years old, and her body felt ancient. Around the dormitory, 200 other humans were waking up too. Nobody spoke. What was there to say? The lights came on, harsh and blue. Hannah shook Una awake gently. Her little sister's eyes opened, already filled with fear. "Morning," Hannah whispered. "I don't want to go," Una said. She was 14 but looked younger. The crushing had stunted her growth, bent her spine, stolen the childhood from her face. "I know, but we have to." Hannah helped Una stand. Her sister's legs shook. That was new. That was bad. They joined the line of humans shuffling toward the compression chamber. Dong-Yoon Lee stood near the back, his gray hair wild from sleep. He caught Hannah's eye and nodded. Dong-Yoon had been doing this for 30 years. He remembered Earth, remembered freedom, remembered when humans stood tall. The compression chamber was massive, big enough for all of them at once. The walls were smooth crystal, glowing faintly purple. The Valkyrie loved purple. Their whole world seemed built from shattered glass and violet light. Overseer Krell waited at the entrance. He was tall, maybe 8 feet, his body made of crystal formations that shifted and clicked when he moved. His face had no features that Hannah could recognize as eyes or mouth, just angles and edges. But somehow, she always knew when he was looking at her. "Enter, flesh things," Krell said. His voice sounded like wind through broken windows. The humans filed in. Hannah kept Una close, found their usual spot near the left wall. All around them, people stood in silence. Some closed their eyes. Some held hands. Some just stared at nothing. The door sealed shut with a hiss. "Today, we strengthen you," Krell announced from outside. His voice came through speakers embedded in the walls. "You should be grateful. We teach you discipline. We teach you your place." The gravity began to increase. At first, it was barely noticeable. Just a slight heaviness in Hannah's limbs. But it grew quickly. Her legs felt thick. Her arms hung like weights. Breathing became work. 2 times Earth's gravity. Hannah's knees bent slightly. She forced them straight. Beside her, Una gasped. 2.5. Someone across the chamber fell to their hands and knees. The Valkyrie called it strengthening. The humans knew better. This was breaking. This was the daily reminder that they were weak, that they were nothing. That resistance was impossible. 3 times Earth's gravity. Hannah's vision blurred at the edges. Her heart hammered against her ribs, working 3 times as hard to pump blood through her flattened veins. She wanted to scream. She swallowed it down. 3.5. The pressure that killed. Una's knees buckled. She fell hard, her face hitting the floor with a sound that made Hannah's stomach twist. Around them, others were falling too. The weak ones. The sick ones. The ones who wouldn't last much longer. Una. Hannah tried to reach for her sister, but her arms moved like she was underwater. She managed to grab Una's shoulder, tried to pull her up. Una's face was white. Blood trickled from her nose. "Can't," she whispered. "Can't breathe." "Yes, you can," Hannah said, but her own lungs were burning. "Just a little longer. Just hold on." 30 minutes. They had to survive 30 minutes like this. The seconds crawled past. Hannah's legs trembled. She could hear bones creaking, joints grinding. Across the chamber, an old man collapsed completely. Nobody could help him. Everyone was fighting just to stay conscious. Dong-Yun was still standing somehow. His face was red, and his hands were fists, but he was standing. He mouthed something to Hana. She couldn't hear over the sound of her own heartbeat, but she could read his lips. Stay strong. Stay strong. As if strength mattered under 3.5 times her own body weight. As if will could overcome physics done, but Hana stayed on her feet. And beside her, Yuna somehow found the strength to push herself up to her hands and knees. Not standing, but not completely broken either. 20 minutes in, Hana heard something snap. Someone's bone giving way. A scream cut off halfway as the person ran out of air. 20-5 minutes. Hana's vision was going dark. She focused on breathing. In, out. Her body wanted to shut down. She wouldn't let it. Finally, mercifully, the pressure began to decrease. 3 times gravity. 2.5. 2. Normal. The humans slumped where they stood. Some fell now that the pressure was gone. Some vomited. Some just sobbed. Hana dropped to her knees beside Yuna. Her sister was breathing, but her eyes were unfocused. I'm here, Hana said. It's over. We made it. The door opened. Krell stood in the entrance, his crystal body refracting the light into rainbow shards. Better, he said. Tomorrow you will do better. Tomorrow. Always tomorrow. Every single morning for as long as Hana could remember, the humans filed out toward the mines. There was no time to rest. The crushing was just the beginning of the workday. Hana supported Yuna, half carrying her toward the mining complex. Dong-Yun appeared on Yuna's other side, taking some of her weight. She's getting worse, Dong-Yun said quietly. Hana knew. She had been trying not to think about it. She be okay. Hana, she be okay. They worked in the deep mines, harvesting crystals from the rock. The Valkyrie used the crystals for everything. Computers, weapons, buildings, art. Human hands were small enough to extract the delicate formations without breaking them. Human bodies were cheap enough that it didn't matter when the tunnels collapsed. Hana worked mechanically, her mind elsewhere. Beside her, Yuna moved slowly, wincing with each movement. At midday, Yuna stopped moving entirely. I need to sit, Yuna said. Sit then. Yuna slid down the wall of the tunnel. Just for a minute. A Valkyrie overseer, smaller than Krell, but no less cruel, came around the corner. His name was Shard. He looked at Yuna sitting on the ground. Stand, Shard commanded. Yuna tried. Her legs wouldn't hold her. She fell back down. Shard's body seemed to sharpen somehow, all his angles becoming blades. Stand or be recycled. She's tired, Hana said quickly. Give her a moment. She work. She is unproductive. Shard leaned down, examining Yuna like she was a broken tool. Report to medical evaluation. Tomorrow. Hana's blood went cold. Medical evaluation was where they decided if you were worth keeping alive. No, Hana said. She's fine. Look, she's standing now. She hauled Yuna to her feet, held her up. Shard looked at them both for a long moment. Then he pointed one crystalline finger at Yuna. Medical evaluation. Dawn tomorrow. If she fails assessment, she goes to recycling. He walked away, his footsteps clicking on stone. Yuna looked at Hana with wide, terrified eyes. Recycling. She whispered. Recycling. The word the Valkyrie used when they killed humans and harvested their biological material for fertilizer. Hana pulled her sister close. No, she said. I won't let them. I won't let them take you. But even as she said it, she didn't know how to stop it. The Valkyrie had all the power. The humans had nothing. Nothing except the will to survive one more crushing. One more day. One more betrayal of hope. Hana looked down at the crystal in her hand, caught the light. Saw 1,000 fractures running through it. Everything broke eventually. But not today. Not Yuna. Not while Hana still breathed. Hana couldn't sleep. She lay on her thin mat, staring at the ceiling, listening to Yuna's labored breathing. Tomorrow morning. Medical evaluation. 20 hours away. If Yuna failed the evaluation, they would take her. And Hana would lose the only family she had left. Around 3 in the morning, Hana gave up on sleep. She slipped out of the dormitory while everyone else rested. The guards were used to humans staying in their assigned areas. Nobody watched the empty corridors at night. She walked through the mining complex, past the sorting stations and processing centers. Dong-Yun had once told her stories about the crash site. The colony ship Dawn's Promise had come down in this valley 15 years ago. The Volcari had built their mining operation right on top of it, using human survivors as labor. Most of the ship had been dismantled. But Dong-Hyun claimed some sections were still intact, buried deep in the sealed-off tunnels where the Valkyrie didn't go. Hana had nothing to lose. If those sections existed, maybe there was something there. Medicine, weapons, anything. She found a maintenance shaft that led down into the old mine works. The gravity felt lighter here, away from the residential sections. Hana climbed down using the metal ladder, her hands steady despite her fear. The tunnel at the bottom was dark. Hana had stolen a small light from the sorting station. She turned it on, watched the beam cut through the blackness. She walked for what felt like hours. The tunnel twisted and branched. Several times she had to squeeze through collapsed sections. Her heart pounded. If she got lost down here, nobody would find her. Then she saw it. A wall that didn't match the others. Not crystal or stone. Metal. Human metal. Hana pressed her hands against it. It was real. Part of the ship. She followed the wall until she found a door, sealed but not locked. The handle turned stiffly. The door opened. Inside was a cargo bay, covered in dust but intact. Hana's light swept across containers, equipment, things she didn't recognize. And in the corner, a computer terminal. She approached it carefully, pressed the power button. Nothing happened. She tried again. Still nothing. There had to be a way. Hana examined the terminal, found a panel on the back. Inside were connections she didn't understand, but one looked loose. She pushed it back into place. The terminal hummed to life. The screen glowed blue, then white, then filled with text. Dawn's Promise Cargo Bay 3. Please enter authorization code. Hana didn't have an authorization code. She tried random combinations. Nothing worked. Frustration built in her chest. She had come so far. She needed this. Then she noticed something. A manual override option, buried in the menu. She selected it. The computer asked for voice confirmation instead. State your name, the computer said. Hana Kim, she said. Welcome, Hana Kim. You are recognized as human. Authorization granted. How can I help you? Hana almost laughed. The computer didn't care about codes. It just needed to confirm she was human. The ship systems were designed to help the colonists. I need information, Hana said. About humans? About our bodies. Why are we here? The computer processed her request. Text filled the screen. Hana read about the colony mission. 3,000 people traveling to a new world. About the crash that killed half of them. About the Valkyrie finding the survivors and enslaving them. But that wasn't what made Hana's breath catch. It was the medical files. The biological data. The comparison charts. Humans came from Earth. Earth was a high-gravity world compared to most planets in the galaxy. Humans evolved under pressure. Their bones were dense. Their muscles were strong. Their bodies were built to adapt. The Valkyrie knew this. The files included intercepted Valkyrie communications. They called humans potential Category 5 threats. They called Earth a death world. The morning crushing wasn't training. It was suppression. The Valkyrie were keeping humans in a weakened state, preventing them from reaching their potential dot with proper conditioning. Humans could adapt to forces that would kill most species. Their bones would strengthen. Their muscles would grow. They could become incredibly dangerous. The Valkyrie were keeping them weak on purpose. Hannah read about human soldiers, trained in high-gravity environments. About athletes who pushed their bodies beyond what seemed possible. About survival, adaptation, evolution. Her hand shook as she scrolled through the data. All these years, she had thought humans were fragile, weak, barely surviving the crushing because that was the best they could do, but they were surviving it. And survival was the first step to adaptation. Medical database, Hannah said. What happens if humans train in high gravity instead of just enduring it? The computer displayed charts. Graphs showing bone density increasing, muscle mass growing, cardiovascular efficiency improving. Given time and proper nutrition, humans could adapt to 3, 4, even 5 times Earth's gravity. The crushing that broke them could make them strong. If they approached it differently, if they fought back instead of simply surviving. What about the Valkyrie? Hannah asked. Their weaknesses? More files appeared. Hannah learned about crystalline physiology. The Valkyrie were strong, but rigid. Their bodies couldn't adapt like human bodies could. They were vulnerable to impacts, to sudden force changes, and to specific frequencies of sound. Hannah read that section twice. The Valkyrie crystalline structure resonated at certain frequencies. Sustained sonic waves at 19,000 Hz could cause cascade failure. The crystal bodies would vibrate, crack, shatter. 19,000 Hz. That was high, at the edge of human vocal range. But the file said trained human voices could reach it. And if multiple humans synchronized their voices, they could generate enough power to weaponize the frequency. Hannah sat back, her mind racing. The Valkyrie had a fatal weakness, and humans had the exact tool needed to exploit it. She heard a noise behind her. Spun around, ready to run. A young man stood in the doorway. He was thin, pale, maybe 19 years old. He held a piece of pipe like a weapon. "Who are you?" he demanded. "Hannah, from the residential sector. I found this place. I needed. You shouldn't be here." The young man lowered the pipe slightly. The Valkyrie don't know about this section. If they find out, they won't. I was careful. He studied her for a long moment. Then he stepped into the cargo bay. "I'm Jinwoo. I've been living down here for 3 months. Escaped from the surface mines. You've been hiding here? The ship has emergency supplies. Water recyclers. Food synthesizers. Not much, but enough." Jinwoo looked at the computer terminal. "What were you looking for?" "My sister. She's dying. They're going to kill her tomorrow." Hannah's voice cracked. "I thought maybe there was medicine or something that could help." Jinwoo's expression softened. "I'm sorry. The medical supplies ran out years ago." Hannah looked back at the screen, at all the information about human potential and Valkyrie weakness. "But there's something else. Look at this." She showed him the files. Jinwoo read in silence, his eyes getting wider with each page. "They've been crippling us," he said finally. "All this time, they've been keeping us weak, because they're afraid of what we could become." Hannah pulled up the data on high-gravity conditioning. If we train properly, if we use the crushing to make ourselves stronger instead of letting it break us, we could fight back. Jinwoo looked at her. "You're talking about a rebellion. I'm talking about survival. About saving my sister. About maybe, just maybe, finding a way out of this. It would take time. Weeks, maybe months to adapt our bodies. And we'd need people who could keep the secret, who could train without the Valkyrie noticing. Hannah thought of Dong Yin, of the other Myers who had survived decades of crushing. They were tough, stubborn. If anyone could do this, they could. How many people could hide down here? She asked. Jinwoo considered. Small groups, maybe 5 or 6 at a time, for training sessions and a sonic weapon. Could we build something to generate that frequency? We don't need to build anything. Jinwoo smiled grimly. We have the best sonic generators in the galaxy. Human voices. We just need to learn how to use them. Hana looked at the computer screen, at the data that proved humans were more than the Valkyrie believed. More than she had believed. My sister's evaluation is tomorrow morning, she said. I can't save her yet, but maybe I can buy time. How? I'll volunteer for extra work. Double shifts. The Valkyrie value productivity. If I work twice as hard, maybe they'll postpone her recycling. That will destroy your body, or make it stronger. Hannah stood up. Either way, I have to try. Jinwoo nodded slowly. If you're serious about this, about training and fighting back, I'll help. This ship has everything we need. Equipment, data, space. We can do this. We'll need more people. Bring them. But choose carefully. One informant and we're all dead. Hannah headed for the door, then stopped. Thank you for not turning me in. I've been alone down here for 3 months, Jinwoo said. I was starting to think I'd die alone. Maybe this is better. Maybe we all go down fighting together. Or maybe we don't go down at all. Hana climbed back through the tunnels, her mind full of possibilities. The crushing started in 2 hours. She had to get back before roll call, but everything had changed. She knew the truth now. Humans weren't weak. They were Death World survivors, built to endure, built to adapt, built to overcome. The Valkyrie had been trying to crush them every morning. They had no idea they were forging weapons. The medical evaluation took 15 minutes. Yuna stood in a scanning chamber while Valkyrie machines analyzed her body. Hana waited outside, her fist clenched so tight her nails drew blood. When Yuna emerged, her face was pale. The Valkyrie medical officer, a creature named Facet, held a data tablet made of glowing crystal. Bone density 42% below minimum, Facet read. Muscle degradation severe. Respiratory efficiency failing. Subject is no longer viable for labor. No, Hana stepped forward. She can work. I'll work her shifts. Double shifts, please. Facet tilted his head, light refracting through his crystal skull. You would volunteer for additional labor? Yes, whatever you need. Just give her time to recover. Recovery is inefficient. Recycling and replacement is standard protocol. Please. Hana hated begging, hated the desperation in her voice, but Yuna was worth any humiliation. 1 month. If she improves, she can work again. If not, then you can recycle her. Facet considered this. The Valkyrie valued productivity above all else. You will work morning shift in the deep mines and evening shift in processing. Every day. No rest periods. If you fail to meet quotas, both subjects go to recycling. I agree. Very well. 1 month. Facet made a notation on his tablet. Subject Yuna Kim is marked for observation. Subject Hana Kim is assigned double shift rotation starting immediately. Hana barely heard him. 1 month. She had bought Yuna 30 days. Now she had to make them count. The first day of double shifts nearly killed her. After the morning crushing, Hana descended into the deepest mine shafts, harvesting crystals for 8 hours. Then she went straight to the processing center and worked another 8 hours, sorting and grading the crystals. By the time she finished, the dormitory lights were already off. She collapsed on her mat beside Yuna. Every muscle screamed. Her hands were covered in cuts from the crystal edges. She had 4 hours until the crushing started again. "You can't keep this up," Yuna whispered. "I can," Hana said. "I will." But Yuna was right. The current version of Hana couldn't maintain this pace. She needed to become stronger. She needed to adapt. The next night, instead of sleeping, Hana went to find Dongyin. She found him in the washing facilities, cleaning his hands slowly. "I need to talk to you," she said quietly. "Somewhere private." Donghyun looked at her for a long moment. Then he nodded. "Follow me." He led her to a storage room, checked that they were alone. "What is this about?" "I found something in the old ship sections." Hana told him everything. The computer, the files, the truth about human potential. Jinwoo hiding in the cargo bay. Donghyun listened without interrupting. When she finished, he was quiet for a while. "I remember Earth," he said finally. "I remember being strong. We were soldiers, some of us, on the colony ship. When we crashed, we fought the Valkyrie at first. But they had weapons, technology. They beat us down. Started the crushing protocols. After a few years, we forgot what we've been. We can remember," Hana said. "We can train. Build our strength back. Training means pushing our bodies harder. In secret, while still surviving the crushing and the work quotas. Most won't make it. I have to try." For Yuna, Donghyun studied her face. "You're serious about this?" "I am. Then I'm in. I'm old, but I'm stubborn. And I've been waiting 15 years for a reason to hope." He paused. "Who else are you bringing in?" "I need people I can trust. People who are strong enough to survive the training. There's a woman named Minji. She was a doctor on the ship. Works in the sorting facility now. Smart. Tough. She's kept more people alive with basic supplies than should be possible." "Anyone else?" "Taeyan. He's Yuna's age, but he's got fight in him. And Haijin. She worked communications on the ship. Good with technology. Can they keep a secret? We're about to find out." Over the next week, Hana and Donghyun carefully recruited their group. They spoke in whispers during shift changes, passed messages through Yuna, tested each person's commitment before revealing the full plan. Minji joined immediately. She examined the medical data Hana had copied from the computer and confirmed it was accurate. "The human body is remarkable," she said. "If we approach the crushing as resistance training instead of torture, if we tense our muscles instead of going limp, if we eat better and rest when we can, yes, we could adapt." Taeyeon was young but fierce. "I'm tired of being afraid," he said. "If there's a chance to fight, I'll take it." Haijin was cautious but agreed. "Someone needs to document this. If we fail, at least there should be a record that we tried." They started meeting in the cargo bay, traveling down in ones and twos so the Valkyrie wouldn't notice. Jinwoo had set up a training area using equipment from the ship's gym. Weights, resistance bands. Everything designed for high-gravity conditioning. The first training session was brutal. Hana, Donghyun, Minji, Taeyeon, and Haijin gathered in the cargo bay at midnight. They had 4 hours before the morning crushing. Jinwoo demonstrated the exercises. "We need to build bone density and muscle mass. We start light and increase gradually. Push too hard too fast and you'll just injure yourself." They worked in silence, squats, lunges, core exercises. Everything focused on building the strength to withstand pressure. Hannah's legs shook after 10 squats. She forced herself to do 20. "The crushing happens whether we're ready or not," Minji said, breathing hard. "Our bodies will adapt or break. We're choosing adaptation." After training, they practiced the sonic weapon. Minji had studied the data on Valkyrie resonance. 19,000 hertz. It's high, but possible. We need to train our voices like athletes train their bodies. They started with vocal exercises, scales moving higher and higher. At first, they couldn't get anywhere near 19,000 hertz. But Minji said that was normal. Vocal cords are muscles, she explained. They get stronger with practice. In a few weeks, we'll hit the target frequency. The key is synchronization. Our voices need to align perfectly. They practiced until their throats were raw. Then they climbed back up to the surface, scattered to their dormitories, and pretended to be the same broken slaves they'd been yesterday. The morning crushing came. Hannah approached it differently now. When the gravity increased, she didn't just endure it. She tensed every muscle, turned the pressure into resistance training. Just like in the cargo bay, it hurt worse than passive endurance. Her muscles screamed in protest. But this was productive pain, building pain. Beside her, Dongyun was doing the same. Their eyes met briefly. He nodded. They were in this together. 3.5 times gravity, the force that was supposed to break them. Hannah's legs trembled but held. She was standing, fighting, adapting. Days became weeks. The group trained every night in the cargo bay, slept for 3 hours, endured the crushing, worked their shifts, and did it all again. It should have destroyed them. Instead, they were getting stronger. Hannah noticed it first in small ways. Her double shifts became easier. The cuts on her hands healed faster. She could stand straighter during the crushing. Minji confirmed it. Your bone density is increasing. I can feel it. Your muscles are denser too. The human body is responding exactly as the data predicted. They increased the training intensity, wore weighted vests during exercises, practiced at higher resistance levels. Their bodies adapted to everything they threw at it. The vocal training progressed too. After 3 weeks, they could hit 18,000 hertz. Not quite the target, but close. Their voices were getting stronger, more controlled. But time was running out. Yuna's month-long reprieve was almost over. She had improved slightly with better food. Hannah had been stealing portions from her own meals, but not enough. The Valkyrie would never certify her fit for work. We need more time, Hannah said during a training session. We're not ready for a full rebellion, Dongyun agreed. We need more people trained, more preparation. How long? Hannah asked. Minji considered. 2 more months. Maybe 3. We need our bone density to increase another 20%. We need to master the sonic frequency. And we need to recruit more fighters. I can't buy Yuna 3 more months. Then we move faster, Jinwoo said. Train harder. Push the limits. They did. Training sessions extended to 6 hours. They worked through pain, through exhaustion, through the voice in Hannah's head that screamed to stop. The crushing became their daily test. Each morning, Hannah stood a little straighter, endured a little easier. 2 months into training, Overseer Krell noticed something was wrong. He increased the crushing pressure for Hannah specifically. 4.5 times gravity. Extended duration. 45 minutes instead of 30. It should have crippled her. Instead, Hannah stood through it. Her legs shook. Her vision blurred. But she stood. When it ended, Krell approached her. You are stronger than before, he observed. This is unusual. Hannah kept her eyes down. Just trying to meet my quotas, Overseer. See that you continue. Krell walked away, but Hannah felt his attention on her now. They needed to be more careful. That night, the group met in the cargo bay. They were different people now. Hannah could see it in the way they moved, the confidence in their postures. 2 months of training had transformed them. I think we're ready, Minji said. Not for everything, but ready enough. Ready for what? Taeyeon asked. Hannah looked at each of them. Her people. Her family. Ready to stop being victims. Yuna's deadline was 3 days away. The Valkyrie would test her again. She would fail. The screaming started at dawn. Hannah woke to chaos in the dormitory. People were shouting, running. Guards were everywhere. She grabbed Yuna and pulled her close. "What's happening?" Yuna whispered. Dong Hyun appeared beside them. His face was grim. Someone tried to escape. A whole group. 20 humans. They tried to rush the main gate during the night shift change. Hannah's stomach dropped. Did they make it? They got 50 feet before the Valkyrie cut them down. Now, Overseer Krell is rounding everyone up. "We need to go." They were herded into the central plaza, all 2,000 humans from the facility. The sun was just rising, turning the crystal buildings pink and gold. It should have been beautiful. Instead, it felt like a graveyard. Krell stood on a raised platform, his crystal body catching the light. Around him were dozens of Valkyrie guards, armed with weapons that hummed with barely contained energy. "You see what happens when flesh things forget their place." Krell's voice boomed across the plaza. "You see the price of defiance." He gestured. 20 bodies were dragged into the center of the plaza. The humans who had tried to escape. They were still alive, but barely. Broken. Bleeding. "These creatures thought they could challenge us," Krell said. They were wrong. He activated something on his wrist. The gravity field in the plaza began to intensify. The 20 humans in the center started to scream. Hannah wanted to look away. She forced herself to watch. If she survived this, she needed to remember. She needed to carry their names, their faces, their sacrifice. The gravity increased to crushing levels. 3 times normal. 4 times. 5 times. The humans in the center collapsed, their bodies unable to support their own weight. Bones cracked. Blood vessels burst. 6 times gravity. Their screams cut off as lungs collapsed. "Please stop," someone in the crowd sobbed. "Please." The Valkyrie didn't stop. They never stopped. The gravity kept increasing until the 20 humans were just broken things, crushed into the stone. Their bodies flattened beyond recognition. Then the gravity returned to normal. The plaza was silent except for quiet weeping. "Let this be a lesson," Krell said. "You exist to serve. Resistance brings only death. Now go to your work assignments." The crowd dispersed slowly. Hannah held Yuna, who was shaking. She caught Dong Yun's eye across the plaza. His expression said everything. This changed things. The Valkyrie were afraid. They had made an example that was meant to terrify everyone into submission. But fear could work both ways. That evening, instead of the usual 5 people, 15 humans gathered in the cargo bay. Word had spread. The execution had broken something in people, but it had also awakened something. Rage. Desperation. The knowledge that submission meant slow death anyway. "We can't wait anymore," a woman named Soman said. She was older, a mining supervisor. "They're going to keep crushing us. Keep killing us. If we don't act soon, there won't be anyone left to fight." "We're not ready," Minji argued. "We need more training, more people prepared. We'll never be ready enough," Dong Yin interrupted. But Soman is right. The Valkyrie are scared. That's why they made such a brutal example. They know something is changing. We need to move before they tighten security further. Hannah had been quiet, thinking. There's something else. Tomorrow is Yuna's final evaluation. They're going to take her unless we do something. "What are you proposing?" Jinwoo asked. "We move up the timeline. Not a full assault, we're not ready for that. But we can start smaller. Show the other humans what's possible. Prove that the Valkyrie can be hurt." "How?" Taeyeon leaned forward. Hannah pulled up the facility schematics on the computer. The Valkyrie have been increasing security in the residential areas, but the lower mines are still poorly guarded. There are processing stations down there with skeleton crews. 3 or 4 Valkyrie at most. You want to attack a processing station, Hyjin said slowly. I want to capture one. Take the Valkyrie guards prisoner. Show everyone that we can fight back. Minji shook her head. Even if we succeed, the retaliation will be severe. More executions. Harsher conditions. They can't make it much harsher, Dongyun said. And maybe seeing Valkyrie captured will inspire others. Give people hope, or get us all killed, Minji said. We're already dying, Soman said. Just slowly. At least this way we die fighting. Hana looked around the group. She saw fear in their faces, but also determination. They had spent 2 months transforming themselves, preparing for something. Now that something was here, arriving sooner than planned, messy and desperate. I won't force anyone, Hana said. This is volunteer only. If you want to stay out of it, I understand. Nobody moved to leave. Okay, Hana said. We hit the processing station in the lower mines tomorrow night. That gives us 1 day to prepare and brief everyone. They spent the night planning. Jinwoo knew the lower mine layouts from his time as an engineering apprentice. There was a processing station at Shaft 14, staffed by 3 Valkyrie during night shift. It was isolated, far from the main complex. The plan was simple. A group would create a disturbance near the station, drawing the Valkyrie out. While they were distracted, Hana and the trained fighters would approach from behind using the maintenance tunnels. Once in position, they would use the sonic weapon. They practiced the frequency 1 more time. 19,000 hertz, sustained for 7.3 seconds. They had hit it during training, but never in a real situation, never with adrenaline and fear making their voices shake. We get 1 shot at this, Minji warned. If the frequency is wrong, if we don't sustain it long enough, they'll just be angry. And angry Valkyrie are extremely dangerous. Understood, Hana said. The next day crawled past. Hana went through her double shift mechanically, her mind on the mission. That evening was Yuna's evaluation. Facet scanned her again. Noted marginal improvement but not enough. Subject remains below viable parameters, Facet announced. Scheduled for recycling at dawn. No, Hana said. I need more time. 1 more week. Time extensions have been suspended due to recent security incidents. The subject will be processed tomorrow morning. Hana felt something snap inside her. All the training, all the preparation. And they were still going to take Yuna. Still going to kill her for being too weak in a system designed to make her weak. I understand, Hana said quietly, but she didn't accept it. Tonight everything changed. The group gathered at midnight. There were 12 of them making the assault. The others would stay behind, ready to spread the word if they succeeded or cover their tracks if they failed. They moved through the tunnels silently. Hana led, with Dongyun and Jinwoo right behind. The maintenance passages were dark and tight, but they had mapped every inch dot at Shaft 14. They could hear the processing machinery, the rhythmic grinding of crystals being sorted and cut. Through a grate, Hana could see the station floor. 3 Valkyrie, just as predicted. They moved between machines, checking output, adjusting settings. Soman and Taeyeon were positioned at the far end of the station. Right on schedule, Soman kicked over a container of crystal shards. The noise was tremendous. The 3 Valkyrie immediately moved toward the sound. Now, Hana whispered. They emerged from the maintenance tunnel behind the Valkyrie. 12 humans, scared but determined, facing 3 aliens who had terrorized them for years. The Valkyrie turned, surprised. One reached for an alarm. Hana took a breath and began to scream. Her voice hit the target frequency immediately. Around her, the others joined in. 12 voices synchronizing, creating a sustained sonic wave at 19,000 hertz. The effect was immediate. The three Valkyrie froze. Their crystal bodies began to vibrate. Cracks appeared, spreading across their surfaces like spider webs. 7.3 seconds. Hana counted in her head, kept her voice steady even as her throat burned. 7 seconds. 7.1. 7.2. 7.3. The Valkyrie shattered. All three at once. They collapsed into piles of crystal fragments, their bodies breaking apart completely. The humans stopped screaming. For a moment, nobody moved. They just stared at the shattered remains of their oppressors. It worked, Taeyeon whispered. It actually worked. Dongyun grabbed Hana's shoulder. We need to move. Someone might have heard. They ran back through the tunnels, adrenaline overwhelming exhaustion. They had done it. They had killed Valkyrie, proven that the aliens could be hurt, could be destroyed. But as they reached the cargo bay, alarms began to sound throughout the facility. Lights flashed. Valkyrie voices echoed through speakers, calling for lockdown. They found the bodies, Jinwoo said. Faster than expected, Minji said. We need to get back to the dormitories before they realize we're missing. They scattered, racing through different tunnels to avoid suspicion. Hana made it back to her mat, just as guards started sweeping the residential section. She lay down beside Yuna, pretending to sleep, her heart pounding. Yuna opened her eyes. What did you do? She whispered. What I had to. The next morning, there was no crushing. Instead, Overseer Krull summoned everyone to the plaza again. His voice was different. Still controlled, but with an edge of something Hana had never heard before. Fear. 3 of our workers were murdered last night, Krull announced. The humans responsible will be found. Until they confess, new security measures are implemented. All humans will undergo crushing sessions twice daily. Children under 12 are no longer exempt. Food rations are reduced. The new crushing protocols started immediately. Twice daily. 4 times Earth's gravity. Everyone, including children. The Valkyrie were trying to break them completely. Instead, they were creating an army. 50 people came to the first meeting in the cargo bay. Then 70. Then 100. Word spread through whispers, through glances, through the shared knowledge that humans had killed 3 Valkyrie and survived. Hana coordinated everything with Dongyun and Minji. They couldn't train everyone to the same level in time, but they could teach the basics. How to use the crushing as resistance training. How to control breathing under pressure. How to find the sonic frequency. The cargo bay became a constant operation. Groups rotating through for training while others kept watch. Jinwoo rigged the ship's sensors to detect Valkyrie approaching. They had maybe a week before security caught on. We need a better plan than just training, Minji said during a strategy session. Even if everyone gets stronger, the Valkyrie have weapons, armor, numbers. What about the gravity controls? Haijin suggested. She had been studying the facility schematics. The Valkyrie use centralized systems for the crushing. If we could access the main control room, we could turn the tables. Jinwoo finished. Increase gravity in their sections while keeping it normal in ours. Dongyun nodded slowly. The Valkyrie bodies are rigid. They can't adapt like we can. Hit them with enough gravitational force and they'll shatter without us ever touching them. The control room is in the central tower, Hana said. Heavy security. We'd need a distraction. We'd need more than a distraction, Minji said. We'd need a full assault. Multiple teams hitting different targets simultaneously. They planned through the night. The strategy crystallized into something audible, possible, desperate. 3 teams. Team 1 would assault the armory and seize weapons. Team 2 would take the control room and manipulate the gravity systems. Team 3 would free the prisoners in the detention centers, including those scheduled for recycling. Hana would lead Team 2, Dongyun would take Team 1. Someone would handle Team 3. When do we move? Someone asked. Hannah looked around at the assembled humans. Some were young, barely teenagers. Some were old, broken from years of crushing. All of them were ready to fight, ready to die if necessary. Tomorrow morning, she said, during the crushing, every human will be in one place. The Valkyrie will activate the compression chambers, and will turn their weapon against them. The crowd was quiet. Tomorrow, less than 12 hours away. Some of us won't survive this, Hannah continued. The Valkyrie are stronger individually. They have better technology. But we have something they don't. We adapt. We endure. We're from Earth, a world that tried to kill us every single day, and we survived. We thrived. These aliens think they can crush us? She looked at each face. Saw fear. Saw determination. Let's show them what humans do when you push us too far. The crowd erupted. Not cheers, they couldn't risk being heard, but a rolling wave of fierce agreement. Fists raised. Eyes bright. For the first time in 15 years, humans looked like they remembered what they were. Hannah spent her last hours before the fight with Yuna. Her sister was scheduled for recycling at dawn. Just hours away. You should rest, Yuna said. Tomorrow will be hard. Can't sleep. Hannah held Yuna's hand. I wanted to tell you something. If I don't make it, don't. If I don't make it, Jinwoo knows where the cargo bay is. There's food, water, medicine. Everything you need. Promise me you'll go there. Promise me you'll survive. Yuna's eyes filled with tears. I promise. But you have to promise me something too. What? Win. Don't just survive. Win. Hannah pulled her sister into a hug. I'll try. At 4 a.m, the alarms sounded for crushing. Every human in the facility was herded toward the central compression chamber. Over 2,000 people cramming into the massive room. The Valkyrie guards watched from outside, weapons ready. Overseer Krell stood at the control panel. You will learn obedience, he announced. You will learn your place. The door sealed. The humans were locked inside. Krell activated the gravity field. It began to increase. 1.5 times normal. 2 times. The pressure built gradually, but this time was different. This time, the humans didn't crumple. They stood, tensed. Ready. Hannah caught Donghyun's eye across the chamber. He nodded. Around the room, the team leaders were in position. Weapons hidden under clothes. Voices ready. 2.5 times gravity. 3 times. The pressure that used to destroy them. The humans were standing. All of them. 2,000 people refusing to break. Outside, Krell noticed. His crystal body seemed to vibrate with confusion. Increase to 4, he ordered another guard. 4 times gravity. The humans swayed. Some dropped to 1 knee, but they didn't collapse. Months of training, weeks of adaptation, years of survival had made them into something the Valkyrie hadn't anticipated. 5 times, Krell said, his voice sharp with anger. The gravity jumped. 5 times Earth's normal force. The humans felt their bones compress. Their hearts struggled. But they had trained for this. They knew their bodies could adapt, could endure just a little longer. And a little longer was all they needed. Hannah took a deep breath. Around her, 100 trained voices did the same. She screamed. The sound started at 19,000 hertz. Perfect frequency. Perfect pitch. 100 voices joining, synchronizing, creating a sonic wave that penetrated through the chamber walls. Outside, the Valkyrie guards froze. Their bodies began to vibrate. Cracks appeared. Krell tried to move away from the chamber, but the sound was everywhere. His crystal form splintered, shattered, collapsed into fragments. All around the compression chamber, Valkyrie guards were breaking. The sonic weapon worked better than predicted. The sustained frequency was tearing them apart. Now, Hana shouted. Jinwoo, positioned near the door controls, pulled out a piece of salvaged technology from the ship. He connected it to the door panel. Sparks flew. The seal broke. The door opened. 2,000 humans poured out of the compression chamber. Team 1 hit the armory. The guards there were already disoriented from the sonic assault. Dongyun led the charge, his voice still generating the killing frequency. The Valkyrie shattered. The humans seized weapons, energy rifles, plasma cutters, anything that could kill. Team 2 sprinted toward the control tower. Hana led them up the spiral ramps, past Valkyrie trying to regroup. Every time they encountered resistance, the trained humans would scream. 19,000 hertz, 7.3 seconds. Crystal bodies exploding into fragments. They reached the control room. A dozen Valkyrie operators were inside, protected by reinforced walls. But the walls couldn't stop sound. The team synchronized their voices. The windows vibrated. Cracks spread. The Valkyrie inside tried to flee, but there was nowhere to go. They shattered one by one. Jinwoo rushed to the control panel. "I'm in. Gravity controls are mine." "The detention centers first," Hana said. "Free everyone." Jinwoo manipulated the controls. Throughout the facility, gravity in the detention centers dropped to Earth normal. Yuna and hundreds of others, weak and sick, suddenly could move freely. "Now increase gravity in all Valkyrie residential sections," Hana ordered. Jinwoo hesitated. "This will kill them. All of them. They were going to kill my sister tomorrow. They executed 50 people 2 days ago. They've been crushing us every morning for 15 years. Hana's voice was cold. "Do it." Jinwoo entered the commands. Throughout the facility, gravity in Valkyrie areas increased. 3 times normal. 4 times. 5 times. The Valkyrie couldn't adapt. Their crystal bodies weren't flexible. At 6 times gravity, they began to crack under their own weight. At 7 times, they shattered completely. In minutes, hundreds of Valkyrie died. The facility's entire command structure collapsed. Team 3 reached the detention centers and freed everyone. Yuna was among them, weak but alive. She saw humans armed with Valkyrie weapons, saw crystal fragments littering the ground, saw her sister standing in the control tower. "We're winning," Taehyun said, helping Yuna walk. "We're actually winning." But the fight wasn't over. Reinforcements would come from the Valkyrie capital city. The humans had maybe hours before a full military response arrived. Hana knew this. In the control room, she pulled up the communication systems. "Can you send a signal?" she asked Haijin. "To who?" "To anyone. Any human ships." The Dawn's Promise sent a distress beacon 15 years ago. There might be rescue ships searching. Haijin worked the controls. "The Valkyrie have been jamming all outgoing signals. But now that we control the facility, yes, I can send a message. Broadcast on all frequencies." "Do it," Haijin typed rapidly. The message was simple. Human colony under attack on Vulcar Prime. Immediate assistance required. We are here. We are alive. We are fighting. The message transmitted. Over and over. Broadcasting into space. Now what? Jinwoo asked. Now we hold the facility until help arrives, Hana said. Or until the Valkyrie military crushes us. Whichever comes first. They fortified their position. Armed humans at every entrance. Gravity traps set for any Valkyrie trying to enter. The children and sick were moved to the cargo bay, the safest location. 3 hours later, Valkyrie military transports appeared on the horizon. Heavily armored. Carrying hundreds of soldiers, Hana stood on the tower balcony, watching them approach. Beside her, Dongyun checked his weapon. We can't fight a whole army, he said. Maybe we don't have to,